Religious beliefs. Egyptian religion of the Old Kingdom was a complex mix of gods, myths, and legends. We only have a few sources to help us to understand their beliefs, and most of the sources focus on the kings. Social class was an important factor in determining the nature of the beliefs and practices of different groups. Sources for the beliefs of all social classes include their tombs, the scenes depicted on the walls, and the burial goods. Knowledge of the gods that Old Kingdom Egyptians believed in is essential for understanding their burial customs. Creation myths. The creation myths of the Old Kingdom reveal important religious beliefs. The towns of Hermopolis, Memphis, and Heliopolis all had creation myth stories in which their local god, played the most important role. In these myths, Atum, the creator god, Khepri, the sun god in the form of the beetle, and Osiris, the god of the underworld, are each shown to be the original creator god. Following is the Heliopolitan creation story. At the beginning, the waters of the Nun covered the whole earth. Atum Re was the first god. He created himself on the primeval first mound that emerged from the waters. Atum Re proceeded to create his own children. First, he sneezed Shu, the air, then spat out Shu's sister, Tefnut, the moisture. Shu and Tefnut became parents of Geb, the earth god, and Nut, the sky goddess. She placed Shu placed himself between Geb and Nut, separating the earth from the sky. Nut lowered herself again at night, and Geb became the parents of 4 children: Isis, the goddess of motherhood; Osiris, the god of vegetation and resurrection; Seth, the god of the desert and chaos, and the protector goddess Nephthys. These 9 gods formed the Heliopolitan Ennead. Horus, son of Osiris and Isis, and Anubis, son of Seth and Nephthys, were 2 additional gods. The main cults of the Old Kingdom. The creation myths introduce us to some of the most important deities of the Old Kingdom: Horus, Re, and Osiris. If you ever watch Stargate, these are some of the names that are mentioned in Stargate. These gods became associated with the king, with their tombs, their sacred texts, and their funerary customs and rituals. Horus. Horus was the major Old Kingdom deity until the 4th century. He was a sky god, the son of Isis and Osiris, and was worshipped at some of Egypt's earliest sites, such as Hierakonpolis. Horus was also a sun god, and is referred to in pyramid texts as the god of the East. Horus was particularly important in the Old Kingdom as a god of kinship. Most importantly, the king became known as a living Horus, placing himself on the same level as a god. The kingship imagery associated with Horus can be seen in the beautiful statue of Khafre, a king of the 4th dynasty, where Horus sits on the back of the king's head in a protected pose. Re, the sun god originating in Heliopolis, was possibly Egypt's most important deity. Because of his role as a creator god, Re became the first king of Egypt, only departing for the heavens where he continued to reign when he became too old to stay on earth. In this form, Re Atum, he appears in the pyramid texts as the father of the king. The first king to incorporate Re in his name was Raneb of the 2nd dynasty. The cult of or Ra, maybe later, became very powerful in the fourth dynasty when, from the time of Khepri, kings were no longer called the living Horus, but changed the epithet to son of Re in their titles. From this time, they also linked their temples to Re. By the fifth dynasty, Re had become Egypt's state god, and several kings of this dynasty built sun temples next to their pyramids and mortuary temples in his honor. Osiris. Osiris is the third god in the group of important kingship gods of the Old Kingdom. He was originally a fertility god, but in the Old Kingdom his cult grew. Osiris took on the attributes of many other gods. For example, from Anubis he who is in the god's embalming tent. Along with Horus and Ra, Osiris is mentioned most frequently in the pyramid texts. His rising popularity seems to have resulted in his incorporation in the Heliopolitan myths. The story of his murder and dismemberment by his jealous brother Seth, and his recovery and revitalization by his loyal wife Isis and their sister Nephthys, became one of the core myths. Subsequently, the account of the struggle for supremacy between Seth and Osiris, magically conceived son Horus, provided a foundation for Egypt's system of government. Horus's victory and accession to the throne led to Osiris being associated with the dead king and a successor with Horus. The story also offered the hope of immortality. Until the end of the Old Kingdom, only the kings could claim to be the Osiris's name on their death, but after this time, nobles and commoners also claimed the right. Thanks for listening, guys.